Welcome to the demonstration of customer-driven site deployment using AWS and F5 XC Terraform modules. In this demonstration, you will be introduced into how to leverage those modules to set up the environment to run those modules and how to deploy specific topology. The deployment process has 3 steps. First is prepare the environment, install the toolchain needed. The second step is changing Terraform input variables for specific topology. And the last step is deploy the topology itself. A good starting point is visiting the site management documentation, the XC site management documentation on docs.cloud.f5.com. There you will find the link, deploy AWS VPC site with Terraform. You click on that one. And here we are looking for a link to deploy site using manual mode with AWS as Terraform provider. You click on that one too. And then you're gonna scroll down to find the subsection called procedure. And by clicking this link, you will be forwarded to the GitHub repository for the Terraform AWS templates. So we do this now. We open and jump into this repository's README file. A quick look at the requirements. First of all, you need a Terraform, you need an XC tenant available, and you need an account on that tenant. You can access this tenant. Other requirements are, like listed here, Terraform at least in version 1.7.0, curl, git, JQ. That's important. They need to be installed up front. OS platform supported now, Linux and macOS. Windows is not supported. From an installation perspective, what we are actually looking into is how to generate an XC API certificate. So when your account is ready, your tenant is ready, you jump into the tenant like I did here, and then there are several options. You look for a link called administration. There are 2 ways. You can also go to the upper right corner and click on account settings. That's what I'm doing right now. And then you look for credentials below personal management. You click here and then you say add credentials. So what we need is an API certificate, and we call it manual mode 400. And then API certificate. Since we are downloading a file, this file will be password protected. We need to provide a password here. Expiration date. And then you download this. Remember the password. You need to remember the password because you need to export this as a environment variable later on. Okay, this is downloaded and available. So let's go back to the documentation. Next step, generate the SSH public key. If you already have private public key pair available, you can leverage those. If not, you can generate by using this command. Those keys are used to connect to your CE by SSH later on. Yeah, you need the full tenant name. How to get this one? Same thing. Click on account settings, right upper corner, account settings, then tenant settings, tenant overview, and there you're gonna find the tenant ID. You need this one later. You can copy it from here. Okay, so now we're gonna clone the repository. You should make sure that you use exactly the same command. If you omit the recursive submodule option, you're gonna be faced with serious issues later on, so you will not be able to deploy. Okay, let's go in here. Let's have a look. Everything is here. Jump back to the documentation. Yeah, now we should pick and choose the right topology you want to deploy. There is a section which describes input variables. We omit this for now. We will see this later on when we go to the variables step. I'm going to take the first one here, single node, single NIC, new VPC, new subnet. I click on description link, and now I'm going to get an overview about what's going to be created. So a site with a single node CE, this node only has one interface. And we're going to create a new VPC and a new subnet. This is a list of additional created AWS objects under the hood. Jumping right to the usage yeah, since we're talking AWS, you need to export AWS credentials. You have to make sure that you export the access key ID and the secret access key. As environment variables, those are later on being used by the AWS Terraform provider to authenticate towards the AWS API. Next step is to export the XC API certificate password. So you remember we created this certificate and we protected it by a password so that the XC Terraform provider can access the certificate. He needs to know the password. This is going to be provided as an environment variable. You need to export this, make these two steps with the password you assigned to the certificate file. Now we're going to have a look at the Terraform TFVars. Let's jump into the example. So you go to examples, CD examples, single node, single NIC, new VPC, new subnet, and inside of that one you will find a file called Terraform TFVars. We're going to edit this. Yeah, we need to change some stuff here. Owner is an tag which is attached to AWS objects, so we know to whom those objects belong to. In that case, it will be my email address. So I could also filter for that later on in the AWS console or by using AWS CLI tool or whatever. So project prefix, project suffix, that's something used to generate various strings. Prefix is always in front of the string, attached to the string, and then the suffix in the end. Good example here is the site name. The site name consists of the prefix, then there is the cluster name in the middle, and then there's the suffix in the end. There are other strings which are created in the templates, like the VPC name, like the subnet name, etc., which also follow the schema. So prefix, something in the middle, suffix. Yeah, you provide your SSH key by the path to a key file, and that's basically the public key file. So I will put it into the same directory. So it's like key.pub. Now we need the full tenant name. We know how to obtain that. So we take this from our tenant here. We copy this one from here. Paste it in here. Okay, then we need the API URL. The API URL, how to get that one? That's basically pretty easy. You could use the domain. What I'm doing is I'm copying it from here, from the URL I opened here. So I take the https:// with me. I take that one, I paste it in here, and now you need to add /API. Important. Make sure that you don't have a trading slash or anything else in here because this leads to errors. Cluster name, whatever you want your cluster to be named. So this also has this also influences the site name. So whatever name your site should have, you can steer it with that option. The P12 file, yes, that's the certificate file. So we say cert.p12, and then region, CERT block, availability zone, etc., whatever you like, put in those options. Okay, we're gonna save this, and now we actually do an SSH. We generate a key. We say key here. No passphrase, and what you're gonna see now is we have a key and a key.pub. That's what we defined in the input vars file, and we also gonna copy the certificate file to this folder. So we got the cert p12 here. That's how we defined inside of the input vars file too. And now we're ready to go. I prepared my TFVars file, so I'm gonna copy this one. So what we can do now is we can initiate Terraform. So we need to do an init first. We need to initialize. I'm using upgrade. You don't have to. What this does is it actually installs all the modules from the XC Terraform library, and it installs the Terraform providers which are being used. In our case, the main ones are AWS and the XC provider called Volterra. When this is done, you can actually do a plan. You don't have to, it's optional. I see I need to change something in my wars file. You do a plan, looks good, and now you can do apply. If there would be any error like before, when I did the plan, you're gonna be shown an error, and then you can fix that. So plan helps you to check syntax stuff. Okay, I'm using autoproof for the apply. You don't have to. Autoproof allows me to omit me answering the question if I really want to deploy this thing right now. So deployment for this particular topology will take up to 15 minutes. If you have a 3-node cluster, it can take up to 20 plus minutes because of having 3 nodes. Yeah, what we see right now here is it's gonna creating all the needed objects, and it's running through, and after approximately 15 minutes we gonna have a new site available in the console. So while waiting for this to be finished, one more important information. If we go back to our tenant, and if we want to have a look at the deployment of the site, we go to multi-cloud networking. And now it's important to know that if you look at site management, so manage site management, you should not look at AWS VPC site. You should look at secure mesh sites. So what this automation does is, what the Terraform template's doing is they create a secure mesh site object. So if you go in here, you will later on see the site going to be created. So again, don't try to find your site below AWS VPC sites. You should go and check for a secure mesh site. So deployment is done, as we can see on the screen. It took approximately 16 minutes. And this is the final output with all the details of the object, which can be reused later on in any kind of other automation or API requests. So if we have a look at the site, we should see. Yeah, we need to relog in. Session timed out. So if you want to find this site again in the console, we have to remember that you're not looking into. So first of all, you pick and choose a multi-cloud network connect, for example. There you go to manage site management, and then normally you would go to AWS VPC sites, but you won't find the site here. You should go to secure mesh sites, and there you're gonna find your site, which is this one. And it's online and operational. Yes. To destroy the site again, you would do a Terraform destroy. And then this starts destroying the site. And the process we went through is now yeah, it's the same for all the other topologies, available topologies. So these 3 steps, you prepare your environment. Well, you only have to do that once if you already ran one environment, one topology. But the input vars file has to be set correctly, and there are slight differences per topology. and the deployment or destroy process is the same. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. See you next time. Bye.